Let's talk a little baseball. All right, why not? Posted a video on Lucifer. Now I'll post a video on baseball because why not? So I'm wearing an Astros jersey. First time I've worn this. You're gonna be like, well, why are you wearing that? Because we're about to talk about cheating. So, right, baseball, a game that is known for being inconsistent on how they enforce uh, ethics, rules, things like that. They've decided that they're going to start checking baseballs, 8 to 10 times a game? Oh, that won't get tedious at all. So, it's been known in baseball for as long as I've watched it that, if you can scuff a baseball before you throw it, you can maybe make that ball a little sticky before you throw it. You might get more spin. It might do exactly what you want. And pitchers become very adept at customizing the baseball so they know exactly what it's going to do, or maybe not. Maybe it's going to fly wildly. And now we're starting to see charts and graphs on how much spin you can get on a baseball legally, and how some of these pitchers are getting way more spin than is legally possible without, I'm thinking about like emery boards and things of that nature. But, there's always different ways to make a baseball behave improperly. And it's always kind of been there. Now, there's some accusations starting to come out, and I'm going to agree with them on this. The baseball from one year to the next does change. And you'll have years where there's all kinds of home runs. Every game is like 4 or 5 home runs. Every pitcher's ERA goes through the roof, mostly, right? And then the next year, not a lot of home runs hit. And it's the ball. It's the fact that, and we've heard this, well, it's a live ball this year. Why? Why does the ball change in baseball? Shouldn't there just be a standard and it stays that way? And so for players to come out and speak out and say, so there's a different standard with baseballs from year to year. And not only that, but now we've got a player coming out and saying there's a tie between baseball and free agency. So Pete Alonso of the New York Mets is claiming that Major League Baseball is manipulating baseballs so that in a year where you're going to have a lot of pitchers as your top-notch free agents, they juice the ball. They make it so that the pitchers, their numbers are crap, hurting their value on the free agent market. Now remember, there's already been talk about collusion to keep salaries down in baseball. And this is where that mistrust between the players and the union between the union and the owners becomes really, really apparent. That he'll say this, and any other sport, you would think people would say they wouldn't do that. But in baseball, they could. They absolutely could. I could see, because baseballs do change from year to year, and they got the live ball one year and the dead ball the next, I could see baseball owners going, we don't want to spend, who's up this year? Yeah, all right, well, we'll juice the balls then. And it's so bizarre, and it's so weird, and it's so otherworldly. And I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, because I'm not. Because I don't think this is just some weird, wacky theory. I think that baseball owners have shown over all of the time baseball's existed that there's always going to be some amount of collaboration. Some might say collusion, and I know that word got thrown around during the last free agent market. But I wouldn't go that far. And yet, I don't know how far they'll go. I really don't. Alonso's coming out and saying it, and he didn't back down. They gave him opportunities to back down, and he didn't. He's like, no, they manipulate the baseballs. Guys have talked about it for years, and now we're talking about it publicly. And this is because baseball's like, we got to make sure these pitchers are on the up and up. And batters are going, well, wait a minute. What about what you guys do to the baseballs? And he's saying they wouldn't have to manipulate the baseball if Major League Baseball itself wouldn't make it so they can't get their strikeouts. They can't get the ball to stay in the yard. So, there's a lot of conversations that I think have to be had. And of course, with CBA discussions likely ending up kind of contentious. I do wonder, with all the baseball jerseys that I've acquired over the last 6 months or so, and a lot of them were on sale after the last World Series, so I was able to get them for relatively cheap, comparatively speaking, with full price. Especially Astros. Apparently, nobody wanted Astros. right? This was the cheapest of the bunch because apparently it's not a very popular one. Who knew? All you have to do is kind of be implicated as being a team that's willing to bang that gavel and or garbage can and get your way to a World Series. And people are like, I don't think I want to wear that. So I don't intend to wear this if I'm ever, say, stateside going to a baseball game. This is not. I will not go to LA or California and wear this. I value not making people angry. I'd be more likely to wear the Blue Jays one or the Phillies or almost anything except Astros. But it is interesting because you're now alienating pitchers, right? You've already got hitters that are very wary of what the owners are doing and owners might be doing. I don't know. It feels like this whole thing between owners and players in baseball keeps ramping up. And even though they're playing baseball right now and it's going to be a full season and there's a lot of fans in attendance in almost every ballpark, you just get the feeling that things aren't going swimmingly at this stage, and I'm not sure how this is all going to work out. Because again, if you have players not trusting owners and owners not trusting players, which is a conversation we've had about baseball before, that becomes a major issue. The NFL has that as well, but it doesn't feel like it's as ugly in the NFL as it is in baseball. And the NFL's had some real knockdown, drag-out fights for CBAs as well. I know the NHL right now, things look to be pretty decent between owners and players. Once you get to the offseason, you get into more of the talk about how much money is owed to the league by the players. You start getting into some more discussions that might be the more distrustful variety. But baseball, I think, really takes the cake when you're talking about the union versus owners and the distrust that's there. And I don't know how you bridge that gap without a third person in the middle who can, this thing with the baseballs, then get somebody else to make that decision. Don't, and make sure that's all transparent and make sure players know before the season starts what the plan is and all of that. And here's how the balls were put together. Here's how here's the plan. And this is how they're going to be done for good. There won't be a live ball year and a dead ball year. And here's the plan. But I don't see that happening. And of course, this is in a time where, you've got the A's are looking at moving, and obviously whether they move or they don't, this is all about making more money. You don't want to get a new building just so people have better sight lines. You want more money. So, money. And then the players are going to want some of that, but there is no salary cap, which also means there's no real sharing between the owners and the players. And I know the fact that there's no salary cap, I think that hurts the smaller market teams. Not that the large market teams are necessarily going to care. Not the baseball players making $30 million a year are necessarily going to care. But it's interesting. It's an interesting time for baseball. And I guess the question I have for people watching this is, how do you feel about this checking the pitchers every 10 seconds to see whether or not the ball is being covered in sticky stuff, as they're calling it? There's various things they do with baseballs. It goes way, way, way back. Phil Necro, way back. And it's been an art form. The ability to have something in your glove. You might have something in your pocket. You might have something right underneath the bill of your hat. Yeah, it's one of those things, he's getting ready to make a pitch and he just rubs his hat. But now it could be anything, right? So, yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think that it's a big deal? Should they just allow it? Should they allow pitchers to customize the ball that they're going to throw? Should they just give up? I've even seen people online saying, you know what, I enjoyed baseball during the steroid era. Let's just let them all use steroids. How do you feel about that idea? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, 2 TEG videos the same day. That's a sign that hockey season's, coming down a little bit. And I have more time to devote to this channel. So keep your eye open, or both eyes open even. Thank you guys for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.